Good afternoon, and thank you for standing by. I'd like to inform all participants that your lines have been placed on a listen-only mode until the question-and-answer session of today's call. Today's call is also being recorded. If anyone has any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would now like to turn the call over to Mr. Andrew Schlack. Thank you. You may begin.
Terrific. Thank you, Eric. Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the CDFI Fund, I'd like to thank you for joining today's webinar related to the fiscal year 2021 CDFI Financial Assistance and Technical Assistance Program Application Question and Answer Session designed for Native CDFIs. I'm Andrew Schlack, an Associate Program Manager on the CDFI Program and Native Initiatives team, and I'm joined today by several colleagues, including Amber Bell, who's the Program Manager for the CDFI Program and Native Initiative programs, as well as Clint Hastings, who's the Associate Program Manager for Native Initiatives. We'll be guiding, along with a few colleagues, through a very short presentation, which is followed by mostly, set up today for a question and answer. So we're glad everyone has joined. We'll get to the questions and answers after a brief presentation. But a couple of housekeeping items before I ask Clint Hastings to give some introductory remarks on a few items that we wanted to cover right up front. Things that we won't be covering today. Again, we're focused on the fiscal year 2021 financial assistance and technical assistance application for CDFIs that serve Native communities. And so past funding round decisions, specific instructions on how to complete your application in AMIS, as well as matching funds which don't apply for Native CDFIs, or the Rapid Response Program application questions, which was due last week. These items we won't be covering today. And so before we get into the presentation, I just want to pitch it over to Clint, who has some welcoming remarks. Clint.
Thanks, Andrew. My name is Clint Hastings, and as Andrew noted, I'm the Associate Program Manager for Native Initiatives here at the CDFI Fund. I always relish the opportunity to engage and share information and answer questions that our Native CDFIs or organizations that are interested in becoming a Native CDFI have for us during our annual funding round. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for everyone that has joined us. Hopefully you'll find this presentation helpful in completing your NACA program application. And if you've got questions, we are more than happy to answer them. That's what we're here for. So just thanks again. We appreciate all of the work that you do out in Native communities, especially considering the challenging world that we've all been operating in over the past year or so. I know that our Native communities are in a better position today than they would be without the tremendous work that Native CDFIs do. So with that, thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Andrew.
Excellent. Thanks, Clint. So I just want to quickly navigate to where the resources will be for materials covered today. And again, we're focused looking forward here, but from the CDFI Fund homepage, which is cdfifund.gov, underneath Programs and Trainings and Programs, and we drop down here to Native Initiatives, and this is the landing page for the Native Initiatives program. The materials for the current round can be accessed down here under Step 2, How to Apply. And if we go to the application materials under there, we're brought to this sort of home base, if you will, for all materials that are related to the open funding round. We've got a number of resources up here, including this handy schedule, which we'll talk briefly about in a slide coming up. But background information on all the previously recorded webinars. We've got the 2021 Technical Assistance webinar that we hosted back in February, along with the Financial Assistance webinar. Those were recorded and posted online. Today, we're here at the last of our webinars related to the 2021 round. And this will be posted within a few days of this recording. So if you have a colleague or somebody from your office who is unable to participate today, or you want to reference that, you can come back to this, and there will be a little link here to access the recording. But I wanted to just quickly bring up the resources that we'll wanted to guide you towards today. Of course, there's the NOFA for the NACA program, NOFA. There's this document, which is the FA application guidance, and then item number 4, which is the NACA FA evaluation process. And I've brought those PDFs up. We might be, covering a lot of materials depending on the questions that folks have, but most of these resources are put together to help answer those questions. The other thing to flag here, I didn't bring it up earlier, but is the frequently asked questions. This is a great resource as we get a number of common questions that come up during the open application period. We're responsive to those questions, and we publish them in the updates to the frequently asked questions. So where something is highlighted, this is indicative of an update that's been made subsequent to the original release. So you can see this is version 3 that was updated on March 12th, and changes to these documents will be highlighted in yellow. And just continuing on really quick, just to point out that the technical assistance materials are listed also on this landing page. Again, the ones to highlight are, of course, the NOFA, item number 3, which is the application guidance, item 4 is the evaluation guidance, and then the frequently asked questions as well. I'm going to hop back really quickly before we get to everyone's questions, and I'm not going to bring up the presentation, but I will zoom in here on the slides because we do want to talk a little bit about the schedule. So where we're at today in the open application period is we're below the red line here in the home stretch of the FA and TA application period. So by this time, everyone who's on the call should have submitted an SF424 through grants.gov and created the materials that are necessary to successfully launch an application. If you haven't done that, it will be too late for you to apply for funding in the 2021 cycle. Needless to say, you're welcome to stay on the phone call as it helps, provide information as you prepare possibly for a 2022 application. But at this point, if you've missed these deadlines that are above the red line, you won't be able to apply for 2021 funding. And then coming up then for awareness purposes, the application itself will be due on May 3rd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. And again, we do offer caution to submit early, submit as early as you can. We always run into a last minute crunch, and you never know what might happen. So encourage everyone to not wait until the very last minute to get in your applications. The last time to contact the AMIS Help Desk for a technical matter is also on May 3rd. They will not be able to respond if the service request or request for help comes in after 5 p.m. This is all published in the NOFA. And then the last day to contact our staff if you have a program related question about, a strategy or a question that you have on the application inputs, et cetera. The last day to contact our staff, either through a service request or calling the CDFI help desk line here, and we've published these numbers, is 5 o'clock on April 29th. So those are some important dates coming up that we wanted to make sure that everyone had awareness of. And at this point, we're going to ask for our friendly operator, Erica, if you want to tee folks up on how to ask questions. We're standing by. And while maybe the first questions come in, if Amber Bell, who's our program manager, wants to make any additional remarks. So Erica, let's tee folks up, and then Amber can fill in as people are thinking of their questions. Erica?
Thank you. Thank you. To ask a question, please press star followed by 1. Please ensure that your phone is unmuted and record your name clearly when prompted. And to withdraw your request, please press star 2.
I am so excited that you guys have joined the call. This is Amber Kuhar-Bell. I've talked to hopefully many of you guys before, but a couple things that I'd like to just point out while we're waiting for questions to be answered is the number one question that we've been getting lately is like, how do the TA and FA award to interact with CDFI Rapid Response Program. And to answer that, I really just want to direct you to those frequently asked questions. So Andrew navigated to the web page previously, and he is right back there now. So you see that big highlight says considerations for CDFI Rapid Response applicants. You go there, it's nice and bright, and we'll show you, I highly recommend you review these because we're really treating the rapid response like a supplemental award. So if you're applying for FA, please take out the, remove the CDFI rapid response loans that you intend to make to satisfy that award from your projections, because otherwise you, they'll be included in your PG&Ms for your base FA application. All of this is written down, but I just want to point you to this. So take time to peruse those questions and really understand that, and then submit a service request if you have any questions. You know, the other question I had is like, well, our projections would look a lot lower because we're using most of our RRP money for that. That's fine. Just lay it out for us. Say we projected $1 million. However, $500,000 of this is going to be used for CDFI RRP and allocated to that, and therefore the projections here look to be $500,000. Something really, you know, straightforward that can help us understand how you arrived at your projections, so we can really understand your business model, which is the intent of the FA application, NTA. And at this point, I will pause to see if there's any questions in the queue.
No questions on the phone at this time.
Great. Well, while you're teeing this up, I think the other thing that Andrew navigated before too, and I'd like to really highlight again, is the FA and TA application evaluation process document. So these, this is really telling you exactly what happens after you've submitted your application. So it will walk you through the 5-step evaluation process for FA, and there's a 4-step for TA. And, you know, we really try to increase our transparency, so you can see in here that if we roll down to the business plan review section, which is section 3, that these are the real questions that the external reviewers are going to be asked when evaluating your application. So it's important that maybe you have somebody on your team or that didn't write the application, read these questions and try to review your application, because that will really help them, help you understand how you get through this step, is by making sure that somebody who has no familiarity or little familiarity with your organization can understand how does your strategic goals support your overall mission and its FA objective or objectives. So that's a key thing. And then the other thing that I want to point out is if you roll down to step 4, which is once you've passed out of step 3, which 70% of NACA recipients will, for FA, you will see the questions that our internal staff ask on the policy objective review. And so that is, you know, insight into what we're looking for to achieve impact and how you're demonstrating that impact in your application. Do we have any additional questions?
No questions on the phone at this time.
Yes, I'd like to remind everybody that this is not intended to be a full-blown presentation. It's really intended to be a Q&A session. If there are no questions, we can end this pretty early. Clint, do you have anything that you'd like to add and fill in?
Thanks, Amber. This is Clint again. I would just really kind of reiterate a lot of what Amber said about the evaluation process document, and making sure that you understand the evaluation process as outlined in the NOFA and this document right here, and how that aligns with the FA and TA application guidance that's posted on our website depending on the program that you're operating or planning on applying for. We are really straightforward in what we share with organizations, and you'll give your application the best chance of succeeding if you complete it in line with the guidance that's provided on our website. Don't try to overthink yourself. We're not out here, conducting any, secret analysis beyond what's included in the public-facing documents. So we've got a great amount of resources posted to our website that we've really refined over the course of the past. I guess this will be the 5th funding round under the current application format. So it's going to be familiar for most of you. But just really rely on the documents that we provide you and understand that they're going to be your best resource in completing a successful application. And then we always love getting questions, whether it's on this call or via service request. Reach out to us by the deadlines that we've talked about for asking questions before you submit your application, and we'll be more than happy to get you as quick of a response as possible.
So, Erica, are there any questions from the audience?
No questions on the phone at this time. As a reminder, to ask a question, please press *1.
So just to bring up, Amber walked us through the document for financial assistance. Again, I had pulled up the technical assistance application process. And if you are applying for technical assistance, we go through in detail, again, providing the same types of questions and responses and evaluation criteria that's given to our reviewers in good detail. And as Amber suggested, one strategy that is always a great idea is once you've sort of developed and written up your narrative, maybe ask a colleague or somebody outside of your organization, if they're willing to help, to read the guidance here on the evaluation criteria against what your narrative is before submitting, and that's been an effective strategy that's been shared back to us as, how the folks are using these resources, knowing that these are, the identical questions that we get within the application. So we have them both available for TA and FA. And at this point, Erica, I'm just going to bring up the schedule again once more so that the dates that are coming up, and again, I really want to encourage folks that did take the time to call in today, if there's anything out there that you'd like to ask over the phone, understand if there are other questions that are more specific, as Clint just indicated, best way to get a hold of us is a service request via EMIS. But I'll leave these dates up here and pitch it back to Erica to see if there's any questions that have come in.
No questions.
And if not, I think that's the last call that we'd want to make. Again, we're excited that folks have expressed interest in the resources, and we got an overwhelming number of SF424s in this year, a record number. So we know there's a lot of interest, and we're here to help. We're here to answer any questions. So if you didn't have a chance or a question comes to mind after this call, again, you can reach out to our staff, the program staff, until April 29th at 5. And if you have any technical AMIS, application glitches or issues with filling out the AMIS application, you can contact the help desk up until 5 p.m. on May 3rd. And Erica, if there are no other questions, thank you everyone for your participation. And we'll turn it back to Erica to close us out.
This does conclude today's conference. You may disconnect at this time. Speakers, please stand by.